Cody here, and welcome to today's episode of Breakfast with Cody Gall. Yes, sir. So, Carlson had some visitors the other night, and I just wanted to talk about that and what I really think about that and what that could lead to. Because it's complicated what I really think about Antifa and what I really think about those people who went to Tucker Carlson's home. So I'm going to try to explain it in the clearest way I can. So try to keep up because it's complicated, okay? So I believe that there is a criminal mafia running the central banking system, and that they are also running the intelligence apparatus. And through that, they're running most of the Fortune 100 companies on Wall Street, as well as most of the major criminal cartels around the world involved in gun smuggling, drug smuggling, and human trafficking. And it's basically the central banking system is doing all the white collar crime, and the intelligence apparatus is doing all the violent crime. And so what I'm saying is that the CIA does not, that the leadership of the CIA and the FBI are not answering to our government, but they're answering to this criminal mafia. And they have a multiple what are called dead man switches, mutually assured destruction, and that the people in our Pentagon and in our government who are not a part of it, which used to be like nobody, but now because of Trump and because of the Pentagon waking up, there's a lot of people in our government who are resisting this. And so you might say, well, why don't they just go arrest them? Why don't they just go kill them? Like, well, what are we putting up with this for? Well, it's because they have all these dead man switches. They have mutually assured destruction. Essentially, they don't want to activate these dead man switches. In other words, there's things they can do if it looks like they're about to go down, where they can go out in a blaze rather than get rounded up. And take a lot of people out with them. And so the Pentagon knows that, and knows that if they really make a move on these people will or can activate these dead man switches. But see, here's the thing. Once you flip that switch and you activate mutually assured destruction, there is no going back. It's suicide by mutually assured destruction. You're not just taking out a bunch of the people on the other side, you're taking out yourself too. And so they're just sort of hiding behind these mechanisms of mutually assured destruction. And they know that if they activate those dead man switches, there's no longer any protection for them, and they're done for. So they just want these dead man switches to be so terrible that the Pentagon will never move on them. And one of those dead man switches is the intelligence apparatus's kill squads, basically. And they have two types. There are these Jason Bourne agents that are just these hardcore killing machines. Kind of like Jason Bourne in that movie. I mean, that movie, I believe there's a lot of truth to those movies. That there really are guys out there like that are just these supreme killing machines. Not many. And they wake up, and they oftentimes realize that they don't want to be involved in what they're involved in, but they're out there. But then below them is this army of mercenaries, MS-13 and ISIS guys. And then there's also foreign assets that are also basically like a part of the equation, like the Chicoms. Although they're the one thing I will say about China, as evil as they are very focused on what's best for China at this point, and they were focused on their banking masters, but they seem to have woken up, but instead of waking up and becoming good, they have just become even worse. So I think the Chicoms are less of a part of our mutually assured destruction and just a part of their own mutually assured destruction. Okay, anyway, so I digress. What does all this have to do with Tucker Carlson? Okay, so I think that they're not activating those dead man switches, but that they are trying to intimidate certain people into thinking that they're about to. And so these two guys are two of the stupidest human beings on the face of the planet Earth. Because what they are is part of Eric Holder's project, which Eric Holder is in charge of what's called plausible deniability, where they want to create these patsies that if they activate the dead man switch and it doesn't go right, then they'll have one last failsafe to fall back on, and that is blame a patsy and say, oh, we didn't do it, they did it. And so that's the whole point of that. Well, it wasn't originally, but now Antifa and Black Lives Matter have become patsies for these kill squads. And so they've activated their patsies, not the actual kill squads, but the patsies. So the whole point of what they did, somebody gave Eric Holder instructions through a bunch of buffer shell organizations to then get instructions to these two guys, this one in particular, to go to Tucker Carlson's house and protest. And the whole reason why they did that was so that one person in that protest, this crowd of people, one of those people is a CIA agent, is a Jason Bourne killing machine. And he's there to look at the windows and to see what kind of fence does he have, and to see, okay, if I show up, what kind of a security system do they have? What kind of dogs do they have? Does a Navy SEAL pop out of the bushes? Because you better believe Tucker Carlson is Tucker Carlson. But you show up at Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Alex Jones's house, and a Navy SEAL might pop up out of the bushes. So they want to know, what happens if we show up to their house? What are their security systems? And it turns out Tucker Carlson has virtually nothing. So he's just wide open, totally exposed. And they probably already kind of knew that, and they used Tucker Carlson. I don't think that they're activating these switches. I think that they're just trying to scare people into thinking that they might. But there's no going back. I mean, it's mutually assured destruction. They're done for if they activate these sleeper cells. It's Iranian sleeper cells that they're in league with. It's Pakistani sleeper cells that they're in league with. And it's a bunch of MS-13 gangs. And there's ISIS in our country as well. So all four of them could be activated. And Antifa and Black Lives Matter would then be activated. Antifa and Black Lives Matter go out rioting, and then these kill squads are in the riots, and then they do all their killing while the mayhem's going on, right? And there's probably at this point, I believe a lot of the guys at Charlottesville were just white nationalists, but I think that there were some provocateurs in the crowd that were probably also in on this CIA thing. So there, I'm sure, would be groups like the Proud Boys also activated to create the illusion of this big conflict between patriots and Antifa, and that illusion would be then used as these kill squads to go out and kill a bunch of prominent conservative leaders. And I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I just think that that is what could happen if they feel like it's now or never. If they get to that point where they feel like we're going down, then they'll do that. So take this Antifa crap very seriously. It's a cover for Jason Bourne. Thank you for watching.